Got 164 checkouts on the ball.
Game's on the second leg.
Will be the ball. Gets the ball.
Game short in the third one.
Back-to-back legs for Robert Thornton.
For the 144. Oh, 4-4. Absolutely superb from James Wilson.
Beautiful.
That's game short in the third one.
Oh yeah, look that, and so does he.
Very good evening, welcome along to Thursday night here at the MODUS Super Series. Double Trouble goes up an extra knot because we've got the naughtiest doublers in town here this evening. We're going to see some extravagance, we're going to see some brilliance, and we're going to see some delightfulness, and that is just with Chris Mason alongside me here in the studio this evening. Mace, it's been a... in the post. Well, it's been an intriguing afternoon already because we saw Group C get underway early on this afternoon, and Daryl Pilgrim, well, it was just typical Daryl Pilgrim, excellence throughout.
Yeah, it's a classy group, isn't it? But he was just head and shoulders above the rest of the field, and it's now looking like which of one of the other four, because Lisa's left herself far too much to do, who's going to join Daryl Pilgrim, because he just looks unstoppable.
He really does. Right, if this is the first time you joined us this week, let's have a look at the tournament bracket, because yesterday Jim McEwen secured his place into the final on Saturday evening. The winner of Series 5 of the MODUS Super Series is looking to taste Saturday night glory once again. Group C was what we saw this afternoon with Ashton, Pilgrim, Osborne, Painter, Dubridge and Duff in action, whilst Group B this evening will see Steve Brown and Robert Thornton from Group A be joined by Connor Scott, James Wilson and Conan Whitehead in action. And you look at the list of names that are joining in the action this evening. We've got some players that just play this sport with a real maverick flair.
Yeah, they certainly do. And let's not forget, Robert Thornton and Steve Brown, they were on the same amount of points as Jim McEwen, only separated by leg difference at the end. And Steve Brown started on Monday as the 20-1 outsider just to win Group A. But on Tuesday, his numbers were right up there with everything else that we've seen so far this week, probably with the exclusion of Daryl Pilgrim today. So you can't discount anybody in this group, but it is going to be fascinating because, as you say, you've got some real flair players in action this evening.
Talk a little bit more about that as the night goes on. Steve Brown was the outsider on Monday, and when you have a look at the outright betting, well, they're writing him off again. 10-1 he is to go on and win the group. But maybe the other surprising one is Robert Thornton out at 9-2.
Yeah, and I think that's on reflection of his performance over the final couple of sessions. Monday he was very, very good, and he just went off the boil Tuesday and Wednesday because he was looking the most likely to win Group A. I fancied Jim McEwen in Group A at 3-1. I fancied Daryl Pilgrim today, and I certainly fancy Connor Scott at 2-1. Just come off the tour, of course, and he'll be looking to bounce straight back. James Wilson seems a lot more settled. I know you had a chat with him earlier, which we'll see a little bit later. I think he's in a good spot, and I think he's found somewhere that suits him and suits his ambition. So he could be dangerous. Conan Whitehead, our Series 1 champion, of course, he was our very first winner. You never know what you're going to get, but usually it's big numbers and big finishes.
Couple of follow-ups. First of all, have you ever seen in Group B, in terms of the betting, where the two players from Group A have been the two outsiders?
Not when they finished joint top and were only separated by leg difference. No, never. But they really do fancy the big, or what they feel is the big three in this group. I'm not sure it'll play out like that. I think Connor Scott will eventually get over the line tomorrow night and win this group, but I think it's going to be tight and go all the way down to the wire.
Is that 2-1 still value for you?
I think so. I think on current form and what we've seen in recent months, I think he's the one that just about has the highest ceiling in there. Listen, the bookies don't do it by feeling. That they analyse every bit of data out there, and the data suggests he's the most likely to win the group. Hence, he's 2-1. But I think he wins it, but wouldn't be shocked if any other combination of three eventually get through to Saturday night from this group.
Right, bet builder time. You dismissed it earlier on. You were correct in saying so. And 23-1 this evening. Now, me and Mace have a deal where we don't like to look at the bet builder until it comes on screen, and that's probably the most ambitious one we've ever seen, isn't it?
Yeah, and this is an accumulation of the most fancied bets on the exchanges, and we put them together in a little lacquer. Thornton to beat Conan. It depends how much Conan's been playing of late, and if he comes in a bit cold, Thornton straight back off the seniors, of course. He's played in Group A Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I don't mind that even money. Conan Wyatt versus Wilson, first leg check out 41 or more. I suppose it's a value bet. We haven't seen too many big finishes, but it's anything 40, over 41. The Brown versus Scott one at 5-1, which is absolutely hiked this bet. Steve Brown doesn't hit a lot of 180s. Statistically, I think off memory, it's fewer 180s per leg played than anybody else in this group. So that's quite bizarre against one of the most prolific 180 hitters in Connor Scott. But good luck to you. But if you're having a pound, I think you probably are better off doing the lottery.
18 plus, bgamblerway.org if you have a punt on that, and maybe Spider-Man pyjamas bet?
You'll need them.
Well, it's an intriguing night ahead of us here at the MODUS Super Series, and we're going to kickstart the night by watching James Wilson in action, the jammy dodger who was so good on his previous appearance here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. He went through the card in Group C on both days. He's only missed out in the end to Tom Sykes, and we know what he did here over the last couple of weeks or so. He's going to take on the former World Grand Prix champion Robert Thornton in the first match of the evening session. Earlier on this evening, I caught up with Wilson to get his assessment on this week and how he's really enjoying his darts over the Super Series. James, welcome along to Double Trouble here at the Super Series. Looking forward to this?
Yeah, I really am, yeah. Looking forward to it. Enjoy a bit of a double start. Not really.
For yourself, is it actually quite nice as a player? Because it kind of breaks up the rigmarole of the normal way you go about things on tour.
Yeah, it breaks a rhythm, and it's quite a hard thing to do, what we're doing. Setting off on a double, finishing with a double, it takes some doing, because sometimes if you start missing them first three, you start thinking, so you've got to get in there straight away.
Do you feel like you've got an advantage because you've played at the World Grand Prix and you've had success at the World Grand Prix in the past?
Yeah, so's Robert.
He did okay, didn't he?
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm quite a good doubler, so I'm looking forward to hitting a few double again for Robert. I'm sure he's thinking the same.
Last time you were here, we saw some really good stuff from you. Made it through to Saturday night, won every single game in group stage action in terms of qualification, but just missed out. Is that a little bit of retribution on your mind because of that?
Yeah, fair play, to Mr. Sykes. But, I think I've burnt out a bit, and I'm looking forward to it again. I'm really enjoying the Super Series. I really am. It's made a massive change in my life. Not having the drudgery, going away at PDC, doing this, doing that, I really enjoy it.
Has it lit another fuse for you?
I think it has, yeah. It's given me a bit more mindful things, something to go for, instead of just the drudgery, of playing in the PDC.
Well, we wish you all the best this evening, and we look forward to watching you play. James, all the very best.
Thank you very much.
So, James Wilson in action against Robert Thornton to kickstart the night's action here in Group B at the MODUS Super Series. Myself and Mace have made the trip over to the commentary box to describe all 10 games this evening. Wilson, as we saw in the previous slide, goes off 9-4 second favourite to win the group. Thornton 9-2 to go on and take Group B honours. Wilson, who has had experience of the World Grand Prix, you can see on the screen there, former quarter-finalist in that competition back in 2018, up against a man who picked up the spoils at the City West Hotel back in 2015. Thornton, who was a big outsider to win that event, beat Michael van Gerwen in the final to claim that crown. And since then has picked up 2 World Seniors Championships, although he did relinquish that at the weekend to the Highlander.
And a seniors match play title as well. They go 4-6, James Wilson here. Robert Thornton 11-10, and I think that's on the back of, listen, on Monday, Robert Thornton was very good, averaged nearly 87 for the day.
James to throw first.
Tuesday 84, Wednesday 74, and I think that's a reaction to that decline in form.
In terms of starting legs, Wilson
61.
will kickstart on double 18. If it doesn't go to plan, he'll switch to tops. But we know Thornton's plan, double 1, as you can see there. No, in all seriousness, he will begin at tops. And we have seen at times a deviation over to the 18s if the bed is blocked.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. It's the
It's
the ideal switch, as is the switch from treble 20 to treble 18, really, when you think about it. It's the smaller adjustment.
36.
But yeah, I don't think we can ignore that that drop off from Thornton, and I think the bookies have got this just about right, especially now that James
95.
Wilson has already had a week here. He's used to the environment, he's used to the surroundings, he understands the formats.
100.
And the double start will hold no fear for him whatsoever. Be interesting to see how the numbers stack up from this afternoon, because we did see some
123.
fabulous performances.
$55. James, you require 82.
Now Wilson not going to get out to a good start. 65 left. Now Thornton all the way back on 310.
Treble 13's the shot, really, or treble 15.
$42.
Nothing wrong with that.
Squares himself up. Thornton needs another treble here, which isn't going to come. And
James,
so
you require
the Jammy
40.
Dodgers got 6 on tots to take a 1-0 lead. 2 10s.
Yeah,
He's
that's
found,
game shot in the
and
first
Wilson
line.
is on the
James
board.
Wilson.
1-0 he leads.
Second leg is Robert to throw first. Game on.
Thornton away. First time of asking at the beginning of leg 2.
120.
That's more like it, and that's going to be key to success this evening, you feel. It takes away such a big element of his
No
game
score.
and his play.
You get the sense this is a group that if you don't get away first visit, you're in heaps of trouble.
Yeah,
66.
yeah, you're going to get punished.
Wilson underway with the first start of his second visit of the leg.
76.
Don't forget, you can get in contact with us this evening at MSS Darts on Facebook, X and Instagram, wherever you prefer to get in touch with us. And do send your comments
81.
and observations about Double Trouble Week and possibly what other theme weeks you'd like to see. There will be one following the end of Series 7. We'll keep that under wraps for now.
97.
But there's plenty of theme weeks coming up over the next 12, 18 months or so. So we'd like your comments and observations as to what you would like to see or hear here at the MODUS
95.
Super Series.
Very
140.
nearly our first max of the session.
Robert, you require 139.
Thornton first to finish in leg 2, 139. He isn't going to go this time, but he's
83.
going to leave himself 56 upon his return to square this match up. Just a reminder as well, if you are joining us for the first time this week, these games are best of 5 legs, first to 3, as opposed to the
58.
regular
Robert, you
Super
require
Series format
56.
of best of 7, first to 4. Tops of Thornton for 1-1.
Yeah, that's game shot in the
That's why
second line.
it is
Robert
double
Thompson.
trouble. Not only have we made it more difficult with the double in, we've made
Third
it
leg is James to throw
even
first.
more
Game on.
ruthless.
I really like this format. I actually think best of 5 suits this particular week down to the ground.
Yeah, and the format for me.
40.
I certainly like to see a World Masters style week where we play
112.
best of 3 sets, best of 3 legs per set. First to 2 sets. Wouldn't be potentially much longer than the
96.
normal format of best of 7 we play.
Yeah, potentially could do it maybe with 3 groups of 5, possibly, just to mix it up a little bit and to save maybe overrunning at particular points.
125.
Yeah, I think best of 5 is perfect because I think there's a danger if you moved in this phase. Maybe the finals you could make an argument
83.
about best of 7 for this. But I think during
Yeah.
the week, best of 5 works for me.
Although on this particular week, the group they've put together, it wouldn't have been a problem for me.
140.
Yeah, but you'll say that and we'll have 4 threes every game.
60. Robert, you require
Don't work
136.
a day in your life if you love your job, Henry.
How many days you been working?
96.
Thornton tops after 12, threatening the break. Wilson got off to a good start in this game.
56. Robert should
Following
require
the slack
40.
start, Thornton has really motored home.
Yeah, that's
And
game
now
seven in the
moves
third
into a
lap.
2-1 lead
Robert
and throwing for the match.
Yeah, a real strong 13 dart leg there from Robert Thornton.
Forward lag is Robert to throw first.
And this is
Team on.
right at the top of the show when we're looking at the bet builder. This is the kind of thing I was looking at with regards to Robert when he plays Conan Whitehead. You just can't ignore the fact that he's had a
80.
lot of darts, but of course by the time they play, Conan will have already played 3 matches. Maybe that's why they fancy that bet.
No score.
I'd like to know who put that together, because that's crazy, that bet
Well,
builder.
yeah, the 2 of the 3 are okay.
100.
But looking at Thornton across, especially Tuesday and Wednesday, putting some of his poorest
No
performances
score.
in the back end of the day, and maybe that's another reason why the shrewdy punters are over on that one, because Conan usually gets better towards the end of the night.
Well, in terms of Thornton, after that first leg where it took him a couple of visits to get going, he's got out
60.
first dart, second dart, first dart in legs.
Yeah, and he's averaging over 87, and double in, that's super tidy.
140.
On for potential 14 darter to wrap it up. He was 1-0 down, but looking to reel off 3 on the spin,
60.
the former Grand
Robert
Prix
should
champ.
require 81.
And he's got all the time that he could want to complete the job. Square himself
41.
up for his favourite tops upon his return.
Possibility, back to back. 13 dart legs.
60. Robert should require 40.
For the match. 2 10s.
Game
And
shot,
Thornton
and a
takes
match.
the opening
Robert
rubber
Thornton.
in Group B. After a slow start, he really did go through the gears there, did the Fawn, beating James Wilson by 3 legs to 1. An impressive performance, an 86-81 average. In terms of the doubles to end a leg, he was 3 out of 4. And then after a ropey first leg starting, he got out the gates in the first visit every single time. So Thornton a 3-1 winner in the first game of the night. Coming up after the break, Steve Brown up against the forever enigmatic Connor Scott. Welcome back to Double Trouble here at the MODUS Super Series, where before the break we saw the former World Grand Prix champion Robert Thornton get the better of James Wilson by 3-1. 3 out of 4 on the end doubles and pretty much perfect in terms of the starting doubles. And well, we've got a shootout now here at the Live Lounge as the bomber takes on the sniper. The question is, who's going to be the sharpest shooter of the lot? For Connor Scott, the 27-year-old from Kenley, made it to the World Championships in the PDC last year. He's also had a WDF World Championship appearance under his belt, taking on the 43-year-old from Bristol in Steve Brown. And as we get this game underway here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth, Connor Scott has promised us some interesting stuff.
Well, he always produces some interesting stuff.
First lag, it's Connor to throw first.
Type of player, and we know it's not for show, because even in the early stages, way before he had a tour card, and probably way before the more shrewder darts fan knew who he was, some of his finishing had me baffled.
26.
Well, that's a new one on me, starting on double 3.
Doesn't matter what double it is, as long as you get it in the end.
Well, he's starting
73.
on double 17 and then going for treble 19.
58.
And then we'll be going for treble 20, which tees up the possibility of the 9 darter.
So I spoke to Connor yesterday about this. He's starting on the double 17 because effectively it gives him an opportunity of the perfect 9 darter. 34,
84.
57, 60 leaves himself 350, which is then the biggest combination you can hit in 6 darts by hitting a maximum and then taking the big fish
48.
out.
Now that's what you call ambitious.
Paul Nicholson sat somewhere salivating.
59. $125.
And if you think we got extravagance from Scott, wait till Conan Whitehead approaches the Yoki next against James Wilson. I think we'll have some fun there as well. But Scott, who took 4 darts to get going in this leg, his first to a finish. His scoring prowess is pretty much on point from everybody in terms of the group.
59.
His annual numbers in terms of overall average is 91.71, but his front 9 average over the last 12 months, 99.83.
44. Gonna you require 56.
That's right up there, isn't it?
And that's a more telling stat in this format because it tells us how they're going to power score. As Scott goes for tops, finds the tops. Maybe you should start on that as well. 1-0 to Connor Scott.
Second lag is Steve to throw first.
They both
Game on.
came in tonight in camouflage.
That's the theme, isn't it?
Not that I can see.
One
I
on
think
the
that's
end,
Steve
60.
as he hits a maximum start. And Connor Scott off to a maximum start.
98.
Well, this is the conventional way of going about a 9 darter in the Grand Prix format. Oh, and it spat in and spat out the 6th perfect dart, and it was in the treble bed.
And we did see it go 6 deep today.
100.
Good play this one, Steve. Is it fair to say that he's
40.
played within himself this week compared to the last couple of appearances?
Yeah, I thought on Tuesday he was fabulous. Averaged 85, 87
Steve, you
for the day.
81.
That stacks up against anything else we've seen so far this week for
41.
a whole session.
You require 170. $60. Steve, you require
tops for
40.
Steve for a potential 13 dart leg hit. 2 10s to square up.
Yeah, that's
square
greater
up.
than a second line.
He does.
Steve
One
Brown.
apiece. 14 darter, much improved upon the previous leg.
Third leg, it's Connor to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, 14 darter from Steve Brown.
34.
Not quite caught fire yet, this one. Plenty of time.
61.
Well, both players have got out the gate well, but maybe the scoring power has exuded them at times. Brown's got in second dart, first dart so far in this game. And after that, a little bit of a wobble in the first leg. Connor's got out first visit in each of the last two. And if Connor Scott hits a maximum here, head for the bullseye.
Yeah, we may see 3 of them. He's tried it before. He'll be trying it again, I can assure you.
60.
Was it Cameron Crabtree that nearly did it last week?
Yeah, we've seen him. We've seen a
81.
few players have a go. He missed the, well, he hit the 25 just to the right of the ball, didn't he? Gave it a great go.
Yes, good pal Owen Bates,
60.
friend of the Super Series, qualified for his first Euro Tour yesterday. Many congratulations to him. He was in the studio on Saturday night. Our jobs are in a bit of peril.
44.
Yeah, just keep playing, Owen.
Yeah, until you're a better commentator than you're a player, you just stick to playing.
85.
I'm a better commentator than I am player, but that doesn't say a lot about my playing abilities.
55. Connor, you require 125.
Treble 20 ball.
60.
If there was a player that would have fancied ball 25 ball, you would have thought it was Connor Scott. As Brown looks at double 12 for the 141. And a breaker throw just inside. And so the sniper returns with his throw under severe threat. 2 fours.
That's game shot in the
Clinical from Connor Scott. He leads 2-1 with Brown breathing down his neck.
Forward leg, it's Steve to throw first. Game on.
Visit perfect again.
45.
Scott also getting away. First time of asking.
73.
Why do I think that is something so maverick that he's going to end up getting it at some point?
21.
It's so sod's law it's going to happen. Bit like how Peter Mowney nearly hit the first live
83.
televised 9 darter for going topped bull with the last couple of darts.
Oh, he went for the most incredible 9, didn't he, Peter Manley?
I could still hear
60.
the cry of Sid Waddell saying, "Oh no." Lost that World Match Play final to Rod Harrington.
Yeah, would have gone down in folklore, wouldn't it?
96.
Had that bullseye gone in.
Peter has played here at the Super Series. How can we forget?
75.
He was a good character around here, was Peter.
Yep, still massively popular in the exhibition circuit, of course.
Connor be the type of player
59.
that you'd pay good money to see, just because of the way he goes about the game. Steve just having a little bit of a play around, tinker around of his equipment.
Maybe a few running repairs. Yep. Maybe a new stem needed.
We're about to enter Formula One
100.
season, and Steve Brown's had a bit of a pit stop. Although Connor Scott might see the checkered flag in front of him now.
Yep, Connor on the verge of
119.
starting his campaign with a 3-1 win. If he takes out 71 on return.
40. Connor, you requires 71.
2 10s.
61.
2 match
Steve, you
darts are
require
come and gone, and this would be
160.
some way to save it for Steve Brown. not to beat. And so Scott gets another chance on double 5.
100. Connor, you require 10. Game
Doesn't
shot,
need asking
and a match,
twice.
Connor Scott.
Connor Scott with an average just shy of 80, 78.92. Gets the job done against Steve Brown, 72.8. Some tidy finishing from Connor, though. 3 from 5, 60%. And he is up and running. And a player who will be keen to join him will be Conan Whitehead and James Wilson. And they meet in our next match.
So welcome back to the MODUS Super Series. This is Double Trouble here at the beautiful Live Lounge in Portsmouth. Before the break, Connor Scott got his campaign up and running with a 3-1 win against Steve Brown. Next up, Conan Whitehead, the last player to kickstart Double Trouble, gets his campaign underway against James Wilson, who's searching for his first win of the night, having lost out 3-1 to Robert Thornton in his opener. The bookies can't split the pair, 5-6, each of 2. So take your pick, Mace.
Well, I always look at the player that's had a game on the stage, and on this occasion, you can sort of ignore it because it wasn't a pretty performance from James Wilson, but we know from first-hand experience of his performance this year, he's a lot better than that. But when was the last time he would have played in this format?
As for James Wilson, it was a couple of games ago. Didn't quite go so well against Robert Thornton, despite getting off to a positive start. It's going to be Whitehead to get us underway in this one. He will kickstart on either tops or double 18, but if things don't go to plan, don't be surprised if the bullseye comes into play.
60.
Yeah, he's another one of those real flair-type players. Really enjoyable to watch in exhibition. Fortunate enough to do a few with Conan over the years.
76.
Yeah, exhibition shots against you.
Yeah.
Even though you were retired, just a
140.
commentator, you now have the psychiatrist couch out again.
Well, encouraging start from both so far.
100.
You feel pace-wise, both will be happy with the way each other go.
Yeah. Neither, well, they're both medium paced,
82.
aren't they? Both get on with it. These two will know each other very well, of course. Be
100.
fully aware of each other's qualities as well. Conan Whitehead, when he gets that first start in, inevitably
140.
one or two will follow.
Left himself 79 after 12. Making the most of the advantage of throw in this first leg. Both
90.
players getting out
Going
the
to
gate
requires
in the
79.
first visit, but Whitehead using that advantage of throw coupled up with scoring power to give himself a dart at tops to take out the opening leg.
Yeah,
And he
that's
only
clean shot
needs
in
a
the
dart
first
at
leg.
tops to
Going
lead
on
1-0.
What a start that is. 15 dart.
Second leg is James to throw first.
Hold of throw.
Game on.
Forcing James Wilson into finding a 12.
$56.
Both players getting away on dart
60.
2.
$100.
One thing both players can do so well as well is they can use a dart pitched just above the treble 20 bed so well.
140.
Case in point there.
Yeah, they're two players with the ability, when on song, to make those real small and key
57.
adjustments. And like you say, use that dart that is just over the target area as a guide, and
95.
often use it to bump in off.
I feel like this is the type of week which will give Conan Whitehead an extra bit of motivation.
100.
First ever win of a MODUS Super Series. I get the sense that winning a specials week and the first special week is another one that he wants to tick off the resume. He likes being the first to do things.
174.
Another real strong leg from Conan Whitehead, down to 32 after just 12.
100. Going to require 32.
Our best average of the week came today from Dow Pilgrim, 100.20.
16.
I spoke too soon.
James, you require
Prior to
88.
that visit, Conan Whitehead was averaging in excess of 107. Wilson here can square the match up at 1-1.
Single 18. Bull. Wonderful board management.
55.
Not
Going to
rewarded.
require 16.
And so Whitehead gets a second bite. Doesn't need
that's been
asking
for the
twice.
second one.
Whitehead
Conan
breaks, leads
Whitehead.
2-0, and is now throwing for the match.
Third
Within
leg
the
is
space
going
of
to
4
throw
minutes,
first.
and
Game on.
we were talking about that heralded 5:41. Although it's not going to count as an official record if it happens, it's still a target possibly
60.
in players' minds. But Whitehead, in each of the 3 legs, has got away second dart.
96.
There hasn't been a leg so far where either player has struggled outside the first visit to get underway. That's his fifth
140.
140 of the game, Conan Whitehead.
Yeah, he's yet to hit a ton. Where James Wilson is at
95.
5 scores between a ton and 139.
$60.
So colloquially speaking, Whitehead is always a dart in front.
100.
And the example of that is the fact that Wilson's only had 1 dart at a double in the opening 2 legs.
Well,
55.
James Wilson said before the action got underway tonight that he was enjoying the fact that there was no judgery about him. Will there be some judgering if he loses his first 2 matches here?
128.
Yeah, it's a long way back in Group B. But the one good thing is you're never
40.
really out of it
James,
with
you
3
require
going through.
82.
And the roll of legs difference could play so vital in a more truncated format. And so finishes like this already could be important.
42.
Doesn't find the
Going to
82.
require 146.
Whitehead to seal it in style. It'd be the first ton topper of the night. It would seal a 3-0 win. Double 16.
130.
Really would have lit the fuse for the Barbarian.
He's
James,
been
you
good round there,
require
has he?
40.
But just
No
sometimes
score.
when you see a player go so close
Going
to
to require
winning the match
60.
on a big shot, it can just affect your turn. And that's what's happened there.
He won the last leg on double 8. 2 4s for 2 points,
Game
and
shot,
Conan
and a
Whitehead
match.
kickstarts
Conan
his
Whitehead.
double trouble campaign with a 3-0 victory. And James Wilson is already in trouble. 2 defeats from 2 to kickstart his night. The jammy Dodger is going to have to sit in the practice room and watch the rest saggle it out. A 3-0 win for Conan Whitehead, 83.5 average, 3 out of 11 in terms of the end doubles, but in each of the 3 legs, got out with his second dart in hand. Wilson, 80.94, didn't get any finishing doubles, but himself got out first visit of asking. Thornton and Scott should be entertaining, and that's coming up next. Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series. Before the break, Conan Whitehead got his campaign off to a perfect start. A 3-0 win against James Wilson, who is now 2 defeats from 2. Well, next up for us, it is the Fawn and the Sniper. Thornton against Connor Scutt. And both players have got off to perfect starts this evening. But somebody's O's got to go. But who is going to lose their O? Chris Mason.
Well, the bookies are a little wary of this one, or the odds compilers, because they go 10
First
to
leg
11
is Robert to
Thornton.
throw first. Game on.
Connor's got 4 to 5, but I was impressed with Robert in that opening game against James Wilson. Averaged 86-81.
100.
Connor won by the same scoreline, 3-1. Almost 10 points off those numbers. Ooh. We hold our breath when we see the double 17
72.
go in. And I was speaking to Connor's manager, Brian Wybrow, after the opening match, and he said
95.
he's been practicing it all week.
He's like a kid in a sweet shop, isn't he?
58.
He's one of those
59.
players, and I know we're not meant to have preferential treatment in that, but he's one of those players that we almost look at like a dad to a certain extent, watching them progress through the
60.
professional ranks when they get their tour card. And
Well, I
things
think
like
because
that.
we've seen him so early down in Southampton, and then we've watched him go on and have 2 years on tour. Didn't
58.
quite work out, but at the time I felt it may have been a little early for him. I felt it was a little bit more to learn and understand the rigors of
93.
playing on that super intense circuit. It can be equally as rewarding, but also sometimes a bit damaging.
136. 96.
I don't think the Lakeside experience helped him when he went in as a massive favourite, and that can really derail confidence. Tots of Thornton.
Well, there
13.
was so much
Conor
expectation
Uruguay,
on
122.
inexperienced shoulders. Bull.
97.
And often that's
Robert
not the
Uruguay,
player's
40.
fault for being so good.
Well, it's people like us.
That's game
as
shot in the
Thornton
first
takes the
leg.
lead 1-0.
Robert Thornton.
I remember working on that event, and I remember
Second
all
lag,
the
it's Conor to throw first.
pre-tournament build-up on the broadcast of being about Connor Scott. He's away for a dart this
34.
leg.
$60.
Yeah, and I think that pre-tournament hype and build-up is warranted when you do look at some of his
140.
performances and ultimately where his ceiling is.
I know you've only seen glimpses of him
57.
back here, but already you can see a far more mature and complete player.
Yeah, there's a bit more composure and a lot less panic, and
100.
that's half the battle.
As a Thornton, you get the sense that he's the type of player that losing that
140.
World Seniors crown, and he was a very proud champion of that competition, is just going to give him that extra fire in the belly come 2024.
Yeah, you think it will
100.
give him just that little bit more motivation to start putting in the hard yards, which isn't easy.
140. Conor Uruguay,
He's
127.
asked the question of Scott here. Chummer 19 and Bull. Bullseye.
102.
Doesn't go, and so Thornton
Robert
threatens the
Uruguay,
break.
He's been
104.
the top side of the ball, now the bottom. He'll stay there. Oh, it's just in the wrong treble. 74 remaining. Treble 14. Oh, wrong
63.
treble again.
Conor Uruguay, 25.
To square up. 2 8s. Chain of a wire away.
17.
And that was a bit further
Robert
away.
Uruguay, 41. Yeah, that's
Thornton
game shot in
and
the
Tops
second leg.
is never in
Robert
doubt.
Thornton.
2-0.
Yeah, 2-0 up when could well have
Third
been
leg is Robert to throw
2-0
first.
down,
Game
and
on.
that's what Conor has got to contemplate and somehow put to the back of his mind. But this is being made even more difficult
160.
when you see your opponent pile in a 160. Hello.
150.
Not often you say this in the Grand Prix format, but they're both on a 9. And if Scott pins this, it would be the ultimate 9.
60.
Needed the max. Well, he needs to make sure now.
56.
Yeah, I was going to say he needs to find trebles to try and just give Robert Thornton a bit of a nudge.
60.
Still a chance here.
$121.
How key could that slip in the single 1 in the middle of that last visit be? Although Thornton isn't making
41.
much hay, he's not making any hay whatsoever. And so Scott has the opportunity to pull a break back here. And he is going about it perfectly. He's left himself left himself 80 after 12, my apologies. He left himself tops after 12. They had a bit of a scoreboard problem there. Apologies.
40. Gonna you require 40.
Double 10.
Yeah, that's
Back to 2-1 we go. 14 darter there for Connor Scott to half the arrears, and Scott has the darts to send us all the way.
Forward lag, it's Connor to throw first. Game on. $58. $80.
Once again, both players of first time of asking.
137. $100. $139.
Beautiful max.
Gonna you require 167.
Incredibly, Mace, our first of the night.
93.
I was
Robert, you require
just checking through my
141.
notes, and surely that can't be right.
2 12s. Moving to have won it in
129.
sumptuous
Gonna
style.
you require 74.
Well, we haven't gone all the way so far this evening. Until now. 2-2, Desmond between Thornton and Scott. Thornton, who had raced into a 2-0 lead, has been pegged back by the sniper.
Game on.
And it is the Fawn with the darts in the decider. That's the first time someone hasn't gone off first visit.
What a time to do it. It just shows you the impact of pressure. I'm surprised he's stuck with that strategy in this situation. And again, that's just maybe a little bit of inexperience. Can't tell me that double 17's his favourite double. In this situation, you've got to forget about producing something not seen before for a highlight
72.
reel and focus on winning matches.
Is there also, though, a devil's advocate to be had of the
100.
fact that you were speaking to Connor's manager and he's been practicing the double 17?
Yeah, I suppose.
97.
But what are you most likely to hit? That's all I'm saying. Sometimes you just got to be reactive and proactive.
100.
He's got the opportunity to steal the darts here as Scott. He's in the treble.
140.
As is that. And he has control of this last leg. Thornton needs to find a 2 treble visit of his own. And even then, Scott is going to have 6 and 192 to complete the job.
Oh, what a last start that is. Gives him the option, if he wants it, of going the ball route, which should guarantee a dart for the match.
You require 92.
May have to take it. And Thornton sat on 80. 2 for the match. Double 16 and now double 8. Thornton shakes his
Good
head,
shot.
and there
And a
is
match.
reason to
Connor
do so, because Connor Scott backs up his opening match success with a second win from 2. He beats Robert Thornton by 3 legs to 2 in the first game this evening. That's gone all the way to a last leg decider. An 89.35 average, 3 out of 10 on the finishing doubles, and in terms of getting out, only in the last leg decider did Scott not do so. First time of asking. Well, we're heading towards the middle of our session now. We're rattling through them tonight. It's Steve Brown and Conan Whitehead after this short break.
Every Saturday, we open our doors for our weekly finals night.
For a unique and intimate darts experience.
Meet the Dart Stars and even the team off the telly
Here at our purpose-built venue in Portsmouth.
every single Saturday evening.
Tickets can be booked via this QR code.
Or at www.dartshop.tv for a very small booking fee.
Follow us at MSS Darts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and TikTok.
For all the latest ticketing news.
All you need to do, log on, book, turn up, and the action gets underway from 7:30 p.m.
So what are you waiting for?
Get your tickets to the darts.
We look forward to welcoming you to the MODUS Super Series very soon.
So that is your ticketing news from the MODUS Super Series tonight. Come and join us on a Saturday, dartshop.tv. The place to be if you want to come and join us for a night at the darts. And what a night we have enjoyed at the darts so far this evening. Before the break, Connor Scott got the better of Robert Thornton in our first last leg decider of the night. 3-2, averaging 89.35 in the process. Next up for us, Steve Brown, who lost out to Scott in his opening match of the evening, takes on Conan Whitehead, who was superb in battering James Wilson 3-0. What to expect to see from this one?
Yeah, I thought Conan looked very comfortable, and what you know with Conan is he tends to
First
get there.
lag,
Not
it's
the biggest
Steve to throw
practicer in the
first.
world.
Game on.
He will tend to just sit back and observe in the practice room, and actually uses his matches to get into the night.
58.
So what tends to happen is you see improvements.
120.
Bit like that.
85. 140.
Are you just beginning to get the sense that he could be brewing something monstrous, Conan?
Yeah, he's one of those kind of players, isn't he?
57.
He's got that in his locker.
60. 86.
And he's got all the time now in the world to break in this opening leg.
Should be treble 13.
120.
That was the target. Leaves 58 after 12.
Going about his business quite proficiently.
99.
To
Going to
concede a
require
leg
58.
so far tonight, Conan. And if he, I was going to say pin top seed to keep that record up, but he's got to burn a dart to get there. He only needed one anyway. 1-0 Whitehead.
Conan Whitehead.
Yeah, that tops was absolutely bang in the middle. 15 dart break of throw.
Second leg, it's Conan to throw first. Game on.
In again. Yet to miss a dart at tops. Missed a big 18.
114.
Every single visit to the board tonight when doubling in, he has
98.
managed to get there at least during that first turn. 2-2-2 against Wilson. 1-1 here against Brown.
81.
Just to recap the action, if you have just joined us this evening, Robert Thornton got the better of James Wilson in the first game, 3-1. Connor Scott beating Steve Brown by the same scoreline. Conan Whitehead ran out a 3-0 victor against James Wilson, whilst Connor Scott beat Robert Thornton by 3-2. In the middle of our 10-match programme here this evening on the MODUS Super Series YouTube
58.
channel.
Yeah, apparently there was some other darts going on somewhere. And Michael Van something beat Nathan Aspinall in the final.
135.
Did that 17-year-old play in it?
60. Going to require 139.
Yeah, he actually should have been in the final himself. Tops.
119.
That would have been a beautiful finish, and not a finish you see very often. Not done in that
28.
way.
Going to require 20.
Conan breaks from the convention, does the Barbarian. He broke in the first leg.
No
And
score.
he's going to come back.
Steve, you require
chooses to bust.
161.
So he comes back for double 10. 60. Needed the treble to start the combination.
41. Going to require
Whitehead's
20.
been in cruise control pretty much from the first start. But he cannot find that
16.
elusive second
Steve, you require
leg-winning dart.
120.
And this time, if he does get a go, he's giving himself another look. That's a great second dart. Almost deserves stops to go in, and it does go in.
The second leg. Steve
A
Brown.
leg he was never really in until taking out the 120, and it's a break back.
Second leg is Steve to throw first. Game on. No score.
Well, Conan instantly gets the opportunity to right the wrongs.
Goes for the
50.
bullseye. He finds the bullseye, Conan Whitehead. We knew it was going to happen.
Even Steve sees the funny side of that.
$80.
They've definitely been talking about it in the practice room tonight.
For sure.
$140.
Far from backwards in coming forwards. He would have told them.
Tell you what you mean. I've always found Conan quite
27.
quiet, keeps himself to himself.
I have to say that the week we had here together was
$140.
absolutely brilliant. He's a seriously funny fellow with a wicked sense of humour.
I would say any stories to devour, but even at 11 o'clock at
42.
night, we can't really talk
No.
about them, can we?
$60.
Well, having a look at the scoring power pack. Brown's had one scoring visit with Tunnel. That was the 120 out. As for Whitehead, 5 ton pluses, 3 140 pluses.
80. Going to require 111.
And that is why. Oh no, he's doing the littler. Oh no, it's double 14. I promise you, he did not want the
97.
ball. He did not want the treble 11-second dart there. I promise you.
$140. Going to
First
require
140
14.
for Steve. Takes him down to a finish,
There it is,
but
game shot in the third
this
leg.
time
Conan Whitehead.
won't get a go at a ton plus out.
Forward leg, it's going to throw first. Game on.
So Whitehead one away. Keeps up his impeccable record this
60.
evening of starting the leg within the first visit. Brown also underway. First time of asking.
80.
We've reached the halfway point of our evening action here in Portsmouth.
121.
And so far, so good for Connor Scott. Me and Mace will be analysing that in a bit more detail in a few moments'
45.
time. Whitehead can also join him on 4 points. And if you are looking ahead to the meeting between the pair, well, that is game 8 in our programme.
100.
On the basis of how tonight's going, we'll probably be in around an hour's time. But we've got some other tasty tungsten jewels before.
100.
Wilson, Scott, Thornton, Brown before that.
$40.
Annoyed there. Knows he had a chance to put this one beyond reach. Needs another.
77.
So 6 at 180. 2 turns to get it done. Love a 140. And that's what he's going to get. May go small 20.
Because there's an issue he can catch here, isn't there?
140.
Yeah. He absolutely made sure that that wasn't going to happen. Everything
49.
but what he was aiming
Going
at
to
there.
require 40.
Tops of the match. 2 10s.
20.
The
Steve
double
Kelly
trouble
by
continues.
150.
Well, Conan started on the ball. Why not finish on 3 of them?
Yeah, I don't think Steve was going to be drawn into that kind of
99.
kidology, was he?
Going to
So
require
Whitehead returns
20.
for 3-1 success.
Game shot.
And it is
and a
another
match. Conan
Whitehead win. Conan the Barbarian is 2 from 2 so far on night 1. He gets the better of Steve Brown by 3 legs to 1. He's only dropped the solitary leg so far this evening. 84.51 the average. 3 from 12 on the end doubles. And starting, well, there's not been a leg tonight where he hasn't got out first time of asking, or first visit of asking. So we've reached the halfway point of the night. Myself and Mace will analyse the action after the break, and we'll also be watching Connor Scott in action. He's 2 from 2. He takes on James Wilson, looking at his first points on the board. Well, welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where we've raced through the first half of the evening session here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. We thought it was going to be fast, we thought it was going to be furious, and it was most certainly the case up to press. Chris Mason's been watching all the action alongside me in the commentary box. This is what we've seen so far this evening. Well, it's been a case of table separation really straight away. Robert Thornton won in the first game against James Wilson. He's without a win, whilst on the other side of the coin, Connor Scott and Conan Whitetip are both perfect so far. And it's fair to say as well, in the case of both of those players, Mace, is the fact that they've just been so consistently good. It's been great without being spectacular to a certain extent.
Yeah, I think they're just well, the numbers suggest that they're just a little bit of a level above and seem to have that advantage of being a throw in front most of the time, and the averages do suggest that. But it's still a tight group. As we know, we've seen people come from the bottom overnight to qualify and go on and win, of course, from Group B. It's that's what makes it so interesting, because it is so tricky. But at the moment, Conan and Connor, they look nailed on to come out of this group right now.
Well, it hasn't been a group littered with big finishes, but we're being threatened with the 9 this week. We saw Pilgrim go 60, and then the Scott Thornton game. They were both on 1.
Yeah, it was an amazing little moment in the match, a beautiful 160, and at this point, Robert Thornton were thinking, oh, he's nailed on to win this match, and the response from Connor had us all hoping, but alas, couldn't find the treble 20 on his next visit, but he's going to go close. He's been practicing it.
If that goes, the internet will break, won't it?
Yeah, it would be the most spectacular 9-darter I think we would have ever seen.
Well, Connor Scott's won both of his matches. Aside from the maverickness, what have you been most impressed about with him this evening?
I think the maturity especially showed in that game against Thornton. I think a couple of years ago, or even a year ago, if it wasn't going his way, he would get quickly frustrated. I think it's something he's sort of got used to, that, listen, I'm not going to be brilliant all of the time. What I've got to learn how to do is win ugly. And listen, we see it from the very best, don't we? You know, we've seen Michael go up there sometimes and have to settle for a 92, a 93. Yes, he wants to have 108 or 110 or 115, but sometimes it's more important to win and get those points, especially in this format in Group B.
In terms of Conan Whitehead, I think we kind of had a perception before the beginning of the week, out of the players who's not played the World Grand Prix before, he'd be the one that'd be able to settle in the quickest.
Yeah, and you never know with Conan. He does play a lot of opens and plays a lot of local darts, so you never really have too much data on what's going on behind the scenes. But he looks very comfortable, doesn't he? And he is that kind of player that won't spend hours on the practice board. He likes to spend hours on the match board. Although he's not spent very long on there tonight, has he?
In and out and dropped just one leg in the process. Right, we'll talk about the table in just a second, but we're going to have a look to next week because Series 7 gets underway here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. And I get the sense, having a look at that group, and of course a lot of players play at the UK Open, that there is a real opportunity for somebody to really grab the ball by the horns.
Yeah, absolutely. And it could be someone like Jamie Kellin or my fancy is a player coming into Group C, Reece Robinson. I've really been impressed with him over the last 12 months, and he's produced some absolutely incredible moments, some real highlight moments on that stage already. I think it's wide open for someone to kickstart their season. Maybe it would be someone like Adam Mould or possibly someone like Nathan Gervin, who will relish the opportunity to play multiple matches and try and get a bit of a head of steam. But yeah, a wide open week. And what an opportunity on week 1 to qualify for Champions Week of Series 7.
Hey, we're not meant to have favourites here, but look, Tony O'Shea. There's no one that doesn't like Tony O'Shea.
Yeah, but Tony had to pull out of the World Senior. He's got an infection in his finger, so he's been on antibiotics for a few days. Obviously, the finger's calmed down a bit, and he's got some feeling back in it. But yeah, what a wonderful story that would be. Well, we see that action Monday morning, 9:30, on the Super Series YouTube channel. Right, our next game sees Connor Scott and James Wilson go toe-to-toe. And as far as these two are concerned, they've had the complete and utter contrast of evening. Scott has won both his matches. Wilson is looking for his first win, and all the action is going to be live after this short break.
Scott Taylor was the champ who reigned under this roof on Saturday evening. The quest to see who's going to join the illustrious names on that trophy will begin Monday morning at 9:30 on the Super Series YouTube channel. And there is going to be a cast list of names for sure. They're going to eye up the big prize, including these two. But first things first, they're hoping to pick up the Double Trouble title. Connor Scott practicing, shock horror, on double 17s, about to take on James Wilson. As far as evenings are concerned, Scott's won both of his. Wilson has lost both of his. But can form change here?
Well, last time out, he certainly improved by some nearly 15 points in terms of an average. And you'd think he's going to need to be in and around that kind of, 80 to 85 number 53. To be competitive here. We've seen Connor produce averages of 79 in his opening game, but raise that to very nearly 90 in game 2. And we are seeing a reaction here from Wilson as he finds his first max of the night.
85.
Well, we expected it to come at some point, didn't we?
Bizarrely, we've had one 180 in a group.
65.
You have Conan Whitehead, Connor Scott, James Wilson and Robert Thornton. You would certainly
100. James
expect
140.
Lots of 180s. As I've already mentioned, Steve Brown's return rate on 180s.
100.
Not like that of players like Conan and Thornton. But to only have one in the session.
59. James, you require
it's bizarre.
40.
Goes against the grain of that bet builder. 2 10s.
35. 60. James, you require 5.
Left in the wings here. 1 for double 2. For 1-0. And something to build on for Wilson.
Yeah, that's game shot in the first lap.
All
James
about
Wilson.
foundations now for the Jammy Dodger. When he gets the first rub on the board, but we have seen Connor Scott come back from behind before. He was 2-0 down in his last game against Robert Thornton before running out a 3-2 victor. Underway for the second consecutive leg,
53.
for the second dart of the leg. And Wilson off and running with his first dart.
156.
Superb start, 156. Wrestled the throw right from the grasp of Connor Scott, who needs to score big here.
140.
Wilson has effectively stolen the throw in leg 2.
57.
That has been vanquished.
$39. 180.
Floodgates have opened.
What do they say about London buses?
137. James, you require 108.
Good visit from Connor. Is it going to be too late? Double 18.
72. Connor, you
Not
require
a way you
132.
see very often anymore. Bit old school from James Wilson. Oh, ton left.
52. James, you require 36.
For 2-0 on the break. Hit it first time to begin the leg. He
Yeah,
finds the
that's
double
games from
9
the
though.
second leg.
And
James
it is
Wilson.
2-0 to James Wilson. And Connor Scott and James Wilson have a little bit of history on double 9. But
Third
we'll
leg
save
is
that
James to throw
for the
first.
YouTube channel later on in the week.
14 dart breaker throw for Wilson. And now 1 away from, well, getting his campaign underway.
No score.
Prior to this match was pointless.
Hang on a minute.
51.
Wilson underway,
56.
fifth dart. What can Scott do here?
Oh, it's just
85.
bounced the other way. Just for a minute. I dared to believe.
Why am I on tenterhooks
85.
over the prospect of someone so maverick enough going double 17 for a 9-dart leg? And why do I want it injected into my veins?
58.
Priority number one now for Connor. Get this leg one, hold and force a decider.
60.
He'll be thinking to himself right now, no faffing around. Clean, clinical, kill of the leg.
140.
On for a potential 14 dart to the break the throw.
$59. Gonna
And he has got all the time that he
67.
wants because Wilson's scoring boots have deserted him again. It's tops.
27.
It's just above, but it's okay for now. Effectively, Scott v Whitehead, there is a conceivability if he comes back and wins this game, could be a shooter as to who goes through the card over the course of the night.
40.
He used that. He
That's
certainly
games on
can.
the third leg.
Beautiful
Gonna score.
adjustment. The break of throw is in.
Forward leg, it's gonna the throw first. Game on.
He is not straying from his MO. And hits the double 17 again.
73.
Well, considering double 17, Henry, is the least most hit double in world darts, I think we've seen, I
No
think it's safe
score.
to say, we've seen more double 17s tonight than the rest of darts combined for the last 12 months.
140.
I think the spotter once upon a time forgot what a double. There was actually a time I remember being sat in a commentary box with Corinne Hammond as Wilson gets his leg underway of his fourth dart. I remember being sat in a commentary box with Corinne Hammond
76.
one evening, and I remember going over double 17 stats for a player. Fair to say, she wasn't too pleased about it, but. Scott hits a max. There was
He's pleased about that.
There was a time of the World Championship where double 17 was not hit for almost 4 years.
Remarkable.
125. Gonna you require 108.
Awkward.
48.
But one thing we're seeing here is Connor's consistently getting out the gate first time of asking. It's just tapping away at opponents. We saw it against Thornton. We may well be seeing it again
Gonna
here
require
against
60.
Wilson.
Will it be
50.
his second comeback from 2-0 down?
More comebacks than Lazarus.
100. Gonna you require 10. Yeah, that's
2-2. We go all the way. 2 a decider
Scott.
again. Scott beat Thornton from 2-0 down. Is he going to
Fifth and
repeat
final
the
leg
feat
is
against the
James to
darts
throw
against
first.
Wilson?
Game on.
Straight in on double 18. And I was about to say it would be
75.
Wilson feeling the pressure the most by virtue of not having picked up a single point so far.
No
and that's
score.
a disaster. And again, I just think you've got to come away from there after dart one.
And now Wilson is stamping his authority.
180.
Third 180.
35.
It's only the third time tonight Scott has taken 2 visits to get a leg underway, but it may have come at the worst possible
40.
time. Although that may give Scott a glimmer of hope, but he has to fill it up here.
Yeah, he's going to need a combination of 140 and 180.
100.
The reason I say that, because now, of course, even with a ton, can't get to a finish.
92. 60.
Scott did all the hard work to
James
get back
Uruguay,
into the match, but
114.
Wilson looks like he's about to seal it here.
Well, the damage was done in dart 1, finding the double.
74.
You'll have to wait. Should be 2 treble 20s. There's one of them. There's the other.
139.
Just
James Uruguay,
in case.
40.
Keeping it handy. But there was
Shot
never going
and
to
a
be a
match,
mistake
James Wilson.
from the jammy dodger. And he finally gets that elusive win on the board. James Wilson gets the better of Connor Scott by 3 legs to 2. It's the first defeat of the evening for the sniper, whose shooting wasn't as sharp as it was before. A 3-2 win for James Wilson there. Gets his first win of the night. And now it's down to Steve Brown to see whether he can get his first win of the evening. He takes on Robert Thornton. And that's coming up after this short break. Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where we're enjoying a little bit of double trouble. That man is a former World Grand Prix champion. That man is Robert Thornton. And as far as his evening is concerned, he's won 1 from 2. He beat James Wilson in his opener before then losing to Connor Scott 3-2. And Scott has been succumbed, losing 3-2 before the break to James Wilson, getting his first win of the night in a high-quality affair. 4 maxis in that. In fact, prior to that game, we only saw 1 max for the entirety of the night. But what we're going to see from Game 7 as Thornton and Brown joust it out on the stage.
Yep, their 4th meeting this week. Of course, both players finishing joint top of Group A. However, the
115.
results over the course of 3 days: Monday 3-2 to Thornton, Tuesday and Wednesday 3-0 to Thornton. So Steve,
120.
not with fond memories of facing Chocolate.
Talking about chocolate, I bought a little
41.
midnight snack for tonight. I don't even think we're going to get to midnight to enjoy that snack the way we're going.
Well, as far as chocolate bars go, I'm not particularly
100.
a caramel Kit Kat. No, I'm not having it. Want something super chocolatey as a midnight snack.
100.
You're not a twirl fan, mate?
Yeah, but I get it all down me. That's the problem. I'm a messy pup, Mace, you see. Do you like a good Twix? Mace begrudgingly nods his head.
97.
Well, Thornton first to a finish in this leg, but Brown can apply pressure on 200.
Yeah, it's minimum of a ton, isn't it? There's 80 of them. Doesn't like the light.
100. Robert, you require
The line was
148.
pretty bang on.
$78. Steve, you require
Robert
100.
Thornton still left himself a bit to do. May only end up with one dart at the double after on the back of 70. But Steve Brown, double 10 for a 15 dart break.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
that's game shot in the first leg. Steve Brown.
Brown breaks, leads 1-0. Well, Brown breaks,
Second leg
but
of
if he
Steve to
loses
throw
this, he
first.
may feel like
Game
brown
on.
bread at the end of this one as far as his chances of progressing his way through.
You did a funny. That was good.
How many years has it taken?
60.
Thornton just squeezes that second one there
96.
into the treble 18. So both players underway. First visit once again in both legs and both following identical patterns. Both players got off first dart leg 1. Both players getting off second dart leg 2. So if they're following that trajectory, they'll go off dart 3 next leg, dart 4 the leg
44.
after, dart 5 the leg after that. And a good quality game as well. When you look at the
41.
numbers, I know we're midway through leg 2, but when you've got averages in the 80s at this stage, it is implying that players are getting out the gate.
$40.
For those of you joining us on the Super Series YouTube channel, don't forget to drop
100.
a subscribe where you can get notifications as to when we're here first, and you can also get all of our bonus content. We've had a little bit of fun today, haven't we?
100.
Doing some bits and bobs which people will see in the next coming days.
We certainly have, and make sure you do subscribe and hit that notification bell. YouTube will currently be the only platform where you will be able to
41.
exclusively watch our MODUS Super Series content. So if you subscribe, hit that notification bell.
81.
Every time we go live and every time we add content, you will get notified. And it's staggering, around 70% of people that watch don't subscribe.
100.
Well, I subscribe to visits like that.
So does Robert Thornton.
Well, to square up at
100.
one apiece.
Robert, you require
Brown is
43.
keeping close opposition. Going down to head up.
23.
But tops isn't found. The cry of O'Robert
Steve, you
for
require
the first time this
76.
evening. He looks up to the skies. He looks up to the heavens. But he is going to get a reprieve. He is going to get a
36.
second
Robert, you
bite.
require 20.
A double 10 to square up. Nudge it across half an inch. The other way, Robert.
No score.
Don't need us to tell you
Steve,
how he's
you
feeling there.
require 40.
Brown for 2-0. Brown to hit the front.
Yeah,
And
that's
to
game shot in the second
really
leg.
take
Steve Brown.
control of this match.
Third leg is Robert to throw first. Game on.
None from 5 for
43.
Robert Thornton on the outer ring, and that may prove costly.
80.
Steve's really finding his range on tops now, isn't he?
60.
He's just growing in confidence where Robert Thornton continues to be frustrated. That was an incredible 60.
60.
Steve Brown saying, well, I can do that. Look at this. Game is about
45.
fractions.
$83.
Well, Robert is cutting the figure of a frustrated man now.
66.
Won that first game against James Wilson, but has come up dry ever since. Had led that game against Scott by 2-0 before squandering that advantage to lose in a decider.
140.
And he'll begin to get the feeling now that this game is beginning to evaporate from him.
Needs another.
100.
So 2 turns
Steve,
for Steve
you've got
Brown to get rid of
138.
138 and pick up his first win of his Group B campaign. 62 left, treble 10.
The 1-3-8-2 winner match, which was, of course, very famously
86.
made apparent by Luke Humphries in the 2023 World Grand Prix.
59. Steve, you require 52.
3-0 success. It would be his first win. It would mean that everybody would have at least picked up an honour tonight. Tops are Brown.
12. Robert, you
May
require 128.
Have to wait. May have to wait another leg if Robert Thornton. Oh,
88.
always something he's
Steve, you
so
require
good at.
40.
Well, Brown has been good on tops in this match. But it is double 10. That will seal him the points.
shot and
Steve
a match.
Brown gets the
Steve
better
Brown.
of Robert Thornton by 3-0. He gets his first honours on the board. As for Thornton, there is work to do. One more game to go, and that's against Red Hot Conan Whitehead in the last game of the evening session. Brown a 3-0 victory against the Fawn. Coming up after the break, it's Connor Scott's last game of the evening, whilst Conan Whitehead is only halfway through his cards. Welcome back to Double Trouble here at the Modus Super Series. The top two go toe-to-toe on this Thursday night. Connor Scott came out the traps a-blazing, a 3-1 win against Steve Brown. He then came back to beat Robert Thornton 3-2 from 2-0 down, but was beaten by James Wilson in his previous match. As for Conan Whitehead, well, he's been the player of the night so far. 3-0 win against Wilson, 3-1 win against Brown, and the numbers have been great. 83.5, 84.5 for him so far this evening. If Conan plays the type, is it his game for you?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think we've seen the best of Connor Scott yet, but I also don't think we've seen the best of Conan Whitehead.
First flag, it's Connor to throw first.
This could be
Game on.
absolutely anything here. They do make Connor a very lively favourite at 4-6, and
no score.
Conan Whitehead at 11-10. You'd probably maybe be swayed towards that because of the value.
Conan Whitehead
79.
hasn't failed to get out in the first visit of a leg so far tonight.
Yeah, and again, that would influence certainly me from a betting
94.
standpoint, because you feel like he's always going to have Connor Scott on the back foot, especially in the legs that he has the throw in.
58.
I just get the feeling that this game could get a little bit silly at times, the way that both approach it, the way both go about it.
180.
Didn't have to wait long.
First Max. Under all of the lights
24.
here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth.
$100.
And again, this is why the doubling is so important. When you've got two power scores, it's so imperative you get away first time.
Correct, and it
81. Gonna
can
you
be
require
the
127.
the difference in loading pressure on your opponent, which is really the only
38.
legal influence you can have in a game of darts, is timing and pressure.
Yeah, a bit different in your day, wasn't it, Mace?
Well, certainly was for Peter
59.
Manley.
Gonna you require 89.
Scott's got time. So treble 10 for tops was the destination. He's going to end up there
49.
upon his next visit.
$85. Gonna you require 40.
So tops for 1-0 in a fairly low-key opening leg.
Yeah, that's game shot
Apart
in the first
from
leg.
the
Connor
Max.
Scott.
Squeezes it into the double five, but ultimately it was that Max that effectively
Second
won
lag,
it
it's
four
going
corner.
to
As
throw
we said, when
first.
you've got two power
Game on.
scores, it could be the finest margins that determine a match. Well,
No
for
score.
the first time this evening, Conan Whitehead has not kicked off a leg in the first visit. Scott has to punish.
34.
He gets it last dart in hand.
Yeah, which would be cancelled out if Conan can find a double with, I was going to say, at least
56.
the opening two darts, but he's left himself a little vulnerable now.
$57.
When you go out first visit, the other player doesn't. Can you almost feel like you've got a bit too much time?
No, you can sometimes try too hard, but that's a flaw in probably 99% of players until you can correct that
140.
mindset where you just play with absolute freedom, and that's why the elite have such a strong B game.
$95.
Leaves himself on the fish.
Macy Connor there as well, if he can find a treble 20.
60. Gonna you require 170.
6 for leg 2. And we know Conan's going to go for it, but he's not going to find it. If this goes dry here,
50.
Scott's in with an outside squeak if he can pile in something big.
No surprise
130.
to see the switch.
Going to require 120.
Did himself unusually on 79. Well, I think he may have been going for 3 double tops. We did warn you.
40. Going to require
There is
17.
flair, and they are flamboyant.
2 10s. Well, that
69,
Maverick
going
move
to
wasn't by way
require
of design,
80.
I promise you. One dart at tots. He has to move over to the left here, Conan.
Yeah,
Finds
that's
it,
game shot of the
1-1.
second leg. Going and white.
Well, he's dodged a bullet there. Well, this one
Third
not
leg, it's
hit the
gone to throw
heights
first. Game
that
on.
myself and Henry anticipated. Still a fascinating encounter.
94.
Almost looked like it hit a bit of a dead spot in the treble. There's no sound of wire on
60.
wire.
The tungsten had a bit of a tickle and it said no thank you.
131. 100. 100.
Super final dart. Forcing Conan into a 3 big treble visit. Just to get somewhere on par.
22.
Just beginning to get the feeling that both players sense significance of this match. It almost as if both players have
95.
singled each other out as to this is my big rival.
And of course, you get to 6 points on night 1 of
59.
Group B.
Gonna require
You're over
81.
halfway there.
Scott's got all the time he wants, so treble 10. The next port of call
49.
will square himself up for 32 upon his return.
$100.
Leaves
Gonna
himself
require
handy
32.
if this doesn't go.
Yeah, that's game
Never
shot
in
the
doubt.
third
Double
leg.
16
Gonna
with
score.
dart 16. Scott leads 2-1.
Forward leg, it's going in the throw first. Game on.
Certainly playing well within himself. Connor Scott visually looks nice
80.
and calm. Looks in control of his emotions. Good to see.
$34.
Scott gets away last start.
$140.
On throw, they are both hitting each other with haymakers.
Conan just giving himself a bit of a G up there.
45.
Well, here's an opportunity. That's been taken.
140.
This is up in the offing. Whitehead has Scott breathing down his neck.
100.
And it's the sniper who's on the hill.
$100.
Oh, we're going
Going
to
to
have
require
a
130.
1-2-7 in game.
Well, Whitehead was looking at other ideas, but he's going to lay up
96.
for tops.
Going to require 127.
1-2-7 in game. To win the game. To win it in sumptuous style. 2-8.
111. Going to require 40.
Conan Whitehead, as he avoided a match dart. Well, can he take us
20.
all the way? No is the
Going to
answer.
require 16.
Right on the wire, double 4. Yeah,
Game
gets
shot,
it.
and a match gonna score.
Just about the right result for me. All in all, when we crunch all the numbers, Connor Scott takes it 3 legs to 1. 83.08 the average for Connor. A disappointing 71-21. Expect Conan Whitehead to bounce back. 3 from 8 on the doubles. Tidy enough there for Connor Scott. And he moves to the top of the table with that win against Conan Whitehead. We come back after a short break. We'll see Steve Brown facing off against James Wilson.
Them lights are right, aren't they?
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series. We're joined alongside Connor Scott in the studio. Connor, 3 wins from 4. Decent night's work for yourself.
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. I think I had a bit of a dodgy start against James in the deciding leg. Other than that, I've been pretty happy with the night, to be fair.
How did you find settling into the double in, double out format?
It's not too difficult as long as you treat the double in like scoring.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't really feel like an awful lot of pressure when you're going for 140s and 180s and stuff. So as long as you treat the double in like a scoring leg, it doesn't really make too much difference.
How much double in, double out had you played before this week?
Next to none.
Mm-hmm.
I played one tournament years and years ago. That was double in, double out, but I haven't played it since.
So if you played double in, double out, how has double 17 become Connor Scott's double start of choice?
It's mathematically sound. So say if I started with, like I have done a few times tonight, 34, 57, 60, 151, takes the 1 off, leaves a 0. So as long as you leave a 0, a 1, a 4, a 7, you normally leave yourself something decent after a few darts. So that's the sort of thinking behind it.
Do you feel like this format brings out your more creative side? Because you speak a lot about the game, speak a lot about the numbers side of it. Does that actually bring out a side of you that you'd like to be on, that creative side?
Yeah, I'm a lot more creative in the ways that I go and the way that I think. It's going to sound strange because some of the shots that I do, but I'm very much a percentage player.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I try and leave a finish after 9 if I can by counting correctly and things like that, because it just gives you an edge sometimes.
So on that subject, like, how long have you been kind of studying that side of the game? Has it been a recent thing? Has it been a number of years?
Forever. The people that I had around me when I first started the game were all very big counters and stuff like that. So I've always sort of done it. There's not been many times where I haven't counted the way that I count. So it's become second nature. I make the odd mistake here and there, but not a mistake that most people would notice. Only people like really close to me or myself would notice.
So you and Robert had a leg early on this evening where Robert's kicked off 160. You've kicked off in your vein. You're both on. Basically, you're trying to leave the lowest combination, aren't you, over 501 to complete the leg?
Yeah, of course, of course. I mean, when Robert started like that, I was like, I'm not going to be part of a highlight reel, is what I said to myself. So I tried my hardest to do a maximum start back, and whatever happens after that happens, sort of thing. All I can do is just try my best every time.
Well, your best has certainly been good so far. 3 wins from 4. Is there a part of you, because of what happened last time in the main competition, that maybe this time round you want to try and right that wrong and get to Saturday?
Not at all, not at all. I'm not someone that dwells on things normally. I mean, James and Tom had the beating of me last time, but those were the only 2 in the room that had the beating of me. So 2 out of 5 isn't too bad as a return, realistically. It's not very often that you lose 2 games to the same people, one after the other, and you don't get through the group. Because normally people drop a few legs here and there or drop a couple of games here and there. So it's not very often, from what I experienced at the old modus, that you don't get through a group into a Saturday just by losing 2 games to the same people each day. I think I got through my first time and I lost quite a few games. First time I was ever in a modus thing. I got through to finals night and champions week. And it was because everyone was losing the odd game, which makes life a hell of a lot easier. But James and Tom that week were just brilliant.
Well, Connor, great night's work for yourself. 3 out of 4, not bad at all.
Not bad.
We'll see you tomorrow night.
As Meatloaf said, 3 out of 4 ain't bad. I
don't know. I think you bought a dodgy album somewhere.
2 out of 3 ain't bad, I know, but
3 out of 4 is a bit better. Right, time for our 9th match of the evening session, and Chris Mason is in the commentary box for it.
Thank you very much, Henry. Fascinating insight into the mindset of Connor Scott. I'm not quite sure of his idea for the double 17, but there you go. Each to their own. Well, all fun and games up on the stage as Steve Brown awaits to take on James Wilson, and I'm sure Steve was massively relieved
First
to
flag, it's Steve to throw first.
get his first win over Robert Thornton this week. James Wilson, last time out, also
60,
picking up his first win of the night. Well,
116.
Up and running. A name, of course, synonymous with our wonderful sport. Legendary Scotsman,
96.
John Thomas Wilson.
$99.
Two more games to bring you, including this one, our final match to follow.
81.
Conan Whitehead taking on Robert Thornton.
Tell you what, I thought I was going to come back in this commentary box. The conversation continued off air. Great chatting to
56.
Connor Scott there. Real good thinker of the game, isn't he?
That's for another day. But he's right, though, in his idea of, well, 350 down. But, of course, it's
60,
347, 344, 341, and 340. Mathematically in double start,
96. James should require
9 darter shouldn't
170.
even become an equation. What you've got to make sure of, which I think he was referring to, is getting it done in those, or giving yourself the best opportunity to get it done in 4
Steve
turns.
require 83.
216 for Brown to get this game up and started.
That's game
After
shot in the
running
first
Brown
leg.
is
Steve
1-0.
Brown. Second leg is James to throw first. Game on.
Wilson away first time, like he did in the first.
76. No score.
Well, it should be a good recovery for Wilson if he could win this game. He lost his first 2, but 4 points is very much par for the course on a night like this.
56. No score.
Wilson just being allowed to run free with his second leg.
Yep. That is that ultimate danger of the double start when you don't get off. You allow your
100.
opponent to then play with plenty of freedom.
$97.
Well, Wilson needs himself on 1-3-2.
82. James, you require 132.
Ball, double 16. Yeah, I thought he may go for it. Now he's thinking about it. 107 remaining. That leaves the ball, but oh, he does go for it.
The second leg.
Takes it out. Not really the champagne shot of the ball double 16.
Third leg is Steve to throw first.
However,
Game on.
it was a beautifully thrown dart.
Oh, you jammy little dodger, James. But ultimately, it's just another leg in the can.
41.
Well, I suppose if you can compare it with the champagne finish, the 25-57 ball would be served in a can.
57.
Well done, Mace. Well done.
You're welcome.
$95. $140. $123. $100.
10 for Wilson. Keeps him interested, but Brown still sort of has the ascendancy of throw if he can find something makeable with this visit. The treble 5 isn't going to help the cause.
55.
And again, leaving himself a little vulnerable. If Wilson can find ton 40, he'll be confident of taking
94.
a fairly big finish out after taking out a beautiful 1-3-2.
$95. James, you require 110.
So 110 for the break for Wilson, and it would mean that he'd throw for the match in the next. Treble 18 needs the requisite double for back-to-back ton plus outs for James Wilson. The jammy dodger is finishing with a flourish and could finish with a flourish here if he can win his final 2 of the night. And after coming in cold, he might be blowing a load of hot air at the end of the night.
65. $93. 30.
Just had an example of why I don't touch technology here in the commentary box, as I attempted to put on the air conditioning, and myself and Henry nearly got blown out of the window.
To be fair, for me, it's just one gust of wind. Have you seen the size of me?
134.
Nice turn. Gets him back in the leg. Still advantage Wilson, of course.
97.
Both players just searching for that big turn that can be a game changer.
$121.
Brown first to a finish, but Wilson will hope to put the hammer down here. It's hammer time for the Jammy Dodger.
174.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's that
Steve, you require
big turn I was
151.
referring to. And now 24 points away from ending his
65.
night.
James, you require
Well in the
24.
mix on 4 points.
It's been a true case of Yorkshire grit.
Game
And
shot,
real
and a
tenacity
match.
from James Wilson, who dug in with the task, resilient to the very end. Setbacks lead for comebacks, and Wilson, having lost his first 2 of the night, has won his last 2. And take a look at those exhilarating numbers. A 3-1 win, a 96.89 average, 3 out of 4 on the finishing, a 132 checkout, one of 2 ton plus checkouts in amongst the mix in back-to-back legs. It was supercalifragilistic. The Jammy Dodger, well, he's mid-table, isn't he? One more game to go. What he did against Thornton. Hello, welcome back to the Super Series. It's the final game of Thursday's Double Trouble programme. Robert Thornton is looking to put himself onto 4 points. If he can get victory against Conan Whitehead, who tasted defeat for the first time last time out against Connor Scott. A win for the Barbarian, and he will be on 6 points, level with Scott at the top of the league standings.
Yes, and
First leg, it's going to throw first. Game on.
3-1 or better, and he goes top. Just on legs difference.
60.
Yeah, 3-2. It go down a head-to-head, which, as we know, Connor Scott won.
60.
Both players with no drama getting away.
What's been your overall assessment
85.
of the day?
I thought this afternoon's Group C lived up to
60.
our high expectations, especially with the performances of Darryl Pilgrim, of course, who was the standout player in
60.
that group today. But there's still plenty to be done in there. I think it's a case of who does Darryl Pilgrim go through with.
100.
It's hard to see on that level of play anybody else but him winning that Group C.
180.
Not tonight. I mean, it's got better, hasn't it? I think the players
41.
probably expected a lot, didn't they? It's a group which is fraught with danger because you're aware of the quality around you. Sometimes that can, well, force you into maybe trying a little bit too hard at times.
It's been good about being great, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been
45.
fascinating. Listen, I love sport. Yeah, we want to see big
Only
averages, but
required 20.
I'm also fascinated by the
That's
psychology
game
of
for the first leg. Go to
sport
Whitehead.
and how players react and deal with situations.
Second leg is Robert to throw first. Game on.
I was going to say, as Thornton pins the tops there, you've got a meeting of two players where
120.
Whitehead gets better as the night goes on, and Thornton can sometimes have a dip in his last match.
Yeah, and again, that's based on fact, not opinion.
No score.
We only deal in facts, Mace.
Absolutely. This game is a game of numbers, and it gives us plenty of facts.
123. No score.
Well, this is a bit of a rare off leg to start for Conan, and Thornton, credit to him, is taking full advantage of that.
94.
A very tidy leg. 164 after 9. Conan up and running.
80.
But something
Robert, you require
miraculous would
164.
have to happen for him to win this leg from here.
It's effectively playing a practice leg, you feel.
56.
And these kind of legs can be always dodgy with the type of player
41.
that Thornton
Robert,
is.
you
He's
require
a
108.
very intense player. He needs to almost sometimes need to be pushed to get the very best out of him.
Well, Thornton might push his buttons here
90.
if he can find the Shankai and 18s.
$44. Robert, you
Right,
require
smile was
18.
almost a resignation, and this leg is over. But it may not be over. Okay, it's
that's
over.
game shot
It
in the
is
second
now.
leg. Robert Thornton. Third leg, it's going to throw first.
Whitehead does
Game
have the darts in leg 3. The issue in this game has been the antithesis of his problems last time, and that's getting away, but he finds the ball of his second dart.
65. 60.
Minor will be back 1 o'clock on the Super Series YouTube channel for
81.
Group C's culmination, and back at 10 for this to conclude.
Yeah, this time tomorrow night we'll be aware of our 6-player lineup for Saturday night's
42.
finals night. You can be here with us. Doors open around about 6 p.m. Head over to www.dartshop.tv. Tickets are free. It's just a £2 booking
92.
fee for a real unique experience here at the Modus Live Lounge.
And if you're lucky, you might get a selfie with Chris Mason.
140.
And if you do have the ability to scan a QR code, that's the code that will take you straight to the ticket page and all the ticketing
171.
news.
So, if you're lucky to get a picture of Chris Mason, what makes you unlucky then?
80.
I'll show you when this
Going to
game's
require
over.
92.
92 for Whitehead.
I don't think he'll do anything outrageous, no. Good board management.
52.
Sure, he was tempted to go for the double-double.
141. Going to require 40.
Well, the old 141 to leave double 19 trick.
Yeah, that's game
Oh,
shot
it's
on
going
the
to
third
matter.
line.
Whitehead leads
Go to
2-1. Thornton remonstrating with himself in the background.
Forward lag gets
certainly
Robert to throw first. Game on.
motivated for this encounter. I should imagine the banter between these two has been lively enough
80.
in the players' area.
One of the good things about this week is there's been a lot of chemistry.
A lot of characters.
56.
I think playing a different format like this, to a certain extent, they got a bit of pressure off their shoulders because they're not playing for
120.
the main jackpot on Saturday night. They can almost just relax a little bit and kind of enjoy themselves a bit more. Of course they want to win, but I suppose it's a different pressure from playing in the main competition.
22.
If they were playing for a cup of tea, mate, they'd want to win it. That's just the way dart players' cloth is cut.
Do get the sense this is not going to be the last time we see a double start tournament here.
No, I'd like to see a week.
92. Robert should require 161.
To send us the distance, and another leg which has been dominated by the player thrown first.
55.
Yeah, that really has been a key feature so far in this match. And if that continues, of course, it'll be Conan Whitehead who takes the spoils.
128. Robert should require 106.
Triple 18 with a left double 16 to have sent us all the way.
98.
He's left himself double 4, and it will be upon his return. Whitehead leaves it handy, but will feel like he's giving up for a last leg shootout. Because there's no miss from Thornton. And so the final game of the night will have a last leg decider. If Whitehead wins this, then he'll move on to 6 points alongside Connor Scott in the table. If Robert Thornton wins, Scott has a 2-point lead at the top of the table going into day 2.
Yeah, and it will see
no score. 3
players all on 4 points. Steve Brown very much in this. Remember, it's a 5-player field on Thursday and Friday night Group B, and 3 from 5 progress.
No score.
2 dry starts.
No
the
score.
Door is open for Thornton, and Whitehead knows all about it.
Can Thornton make him pay? Amazing, isn't it? A little bit of pressure.
No score. $60.
Whitehead off the mark.
was going to say, what usually happens is then the other player that's been missing
80.
gets off himself.
Not your first rodeo, Mace.
No, been there and done it. Got the T-shirt.
140. 100. 60. 100.
Thornton really digging in here.
85.
You could hear his disappointment with dart 3. He's just left himself a fair bit more to do. Although Thornton, oh, that's a super last start.
Going to Uruguay
Left himself the Deller
156.
or the Humphreys now.
The 156 for the match. That would have been so clutch and so typically
140.
Conan. But now this 138 has to go.
138.
Going traditional. Treble 18. Oh, double 9.
Game
Remarkable
shots,
from Robert Thornton,
Thornton,
who produces a wonderful 138 finish to win it in the deciding leg. And a great end to what's been a great session. Myself and Henry will wrap up what's happened here this evening in just a couple of moments' time.
Intriguing session, it's fair to say, Mace. We expected some high quality stuff. We saw it without maybe the spectacular until the end.
Yeah, I thought Connor Scott might be just that little bit too good, and that's what's proven to have happened. He's just 2 points in front of 3 other players, and then Steve Brown on 2 points at the foot of the table, but still very much in the mix to qualify.
Let's have a look at the results then from tonight's session. This is what we've seen this evening at the Super Series. Robert Thornton kick-started the night with a win. He ended the night with a win, but it's been all about 2 players this evening, in particular Connor Scott and Conan White. Right, let's talk about Connor, because he's going to be the man that leads the pile going into day 2 here in Group B. We've given the big build-up. He's got the 3 wins. Is there still room for him to manoeuvre, though?
Yeah, we've not seen anywhere near the best of him, and you could probably say that for the rest of the field this evening. I think they felt the pressure. They were aware that it was a very good group of players, and look how James Wilson started with 2 defeats and then inflicted the only defeat on Connor Scott in the middle match. So it is where we thought it would be, to be honest. I didn't think there would be a lot between the field, and there isn't in the end. It's still achievable for any one of the four behind Connor Scott to go on and qualify. And it is a very hard call.
In terms of James Wilson, what impressed you so much in the second half of the night?
Yeah, listen, he wasn't good in the opening two matches, but to bounce back against the then undefeated Connor Scott and favourite to win the group just gave him a lot of confidence. And we saw an example here. Didn't need to go for that shot, but sometimes you just try and get confidence from somewhere, and those are the kind of shots that will give you the confidence. And he backed that one up, proving my point, with another 100+ checkouts. So he's going to be dangerous tomorrow, as is the rest of the field.
Robert Thornton, there's been signs this evening, but that's kind of been the story of his week, hasn't it?
Yeah, he's blown a bit hot and cold. Sometimes you just can't put your finger on it. I've spoken of it before, that some players can just be out of form, and it's the way it goes in sport. You can't pick when you peak. It just sort of happens, and then it's all about holding it for as long as possible. And then when you drop off, you got to build all the way back up again, and that comes with winning matches, getting confidence, putting the hours in. He certainly put the hours in over the last couple of weeks. I know that for sure, and plenty of hours on the motorway. He would be absolutely thrilled to have won that match against Conan Whitehead and done it in such style. The great 140 from Conan to leave the 888, and this has to go, or he's destined to remain on 2 points with Steve Brown. He's now potentially 2 wins, possibly 3 wins away. This has got that look of one of those kind of groups where we may see 3 players on the same points and only separated by leg difference.
Yeah, Robert Thornton showing class in the glass there. Steve Brown showing signs of class this evening. What would be your overall assessment of his night, though?
I think he'll be disappointed. I thought Tuesday was very, very good, averaged nearly 86 for the day. If he'd have been anywhere near that kind of number, he'd have been up there with Connor Scott at the top of the table. But listen, he understands the intricacies of the Super Series, and he's just got to come in tomorrow, as his fellow Bristolian Mark Durbridge, and just give it their all and just give it one push and go for it. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's no biggie.
Before we leave you tonight, let's have a look at the league standings, because Connor Scott leads the pile, 6 points to his name. A couple of wins tomorrow night will seal his place through to Saturday. Whitehead, Thornton, Wilson, all on 4. Steve Brown with work to do, but definitely not out of it at all on 2 points. So that is how it looks going into tomorrow. Intriguing day ahead.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating, especially Group C. I'm looking forward to seeing how that play out, because Darryl Pilgrim was outstanding today, and I think there's only one place up for grabs.
Time for you to get your beauty sleep.
I need it.
Spick and span in the morning. That is it from us here at the Super Series. Double Trouble certainly supplied that in double dosage on Thursday at the Live Lounge. And it was the sniper Scott that was the sharpest shooter when it came to Thursday night. Bye-bye from us.